Today's video is sponsored by Knopp Construction. If you need a Sukup bin, any kind of grain handling, give Jason Knopp a call. So today we're in a little rain delay. I'm going to go down and move some of the dry corn on a haul to the ethanol plant. They're open on weekends during harvest, extended hours, so we're going to move some of the grain or some of the corn that we've dried, and I'll kind of show some of the process there today. I'm going to be loading trucks, possibly dumping some trucks, things like that. The dryer's probably running. If not, we'll walk around and talk about it, some of the capacities and things, and talk about dry corn, wet corn, just things of that nature. Now let's talk about trucks. We've got 2008 Kenworth T800, two 2001s, and also a 2004. We've got 3 cat motors, and the 2008, which is here, has a Cummins in it. We actually all prefer the cats. As we're walking up, you can hear we're aerating some of the beans that we've hauled in, some of the corn. So our truck here, the 04, is parked over our wet corn dump. Our wet corn dump holds around 500 bushels, so we're dumping a semi in about 10 minutes. Kind of nice to be able to open both hoppers when you want to. There's a conveyor underneath the ground here, comes up to the leg. Actually looking right there. The leg goes up with the grain, and then we drop these downspouts. As you can see from this angle, this downspout feeds our corn dryer. So the wet corn comes up from the down into the pit, up the conveyor, up the leg, and then down the spout. The selectors, you can choose which bin you want it to go to. So right now we actually have it filling the dryer, and it spills over into either of these wet bins, these 3 wet bins here. All 3 of those wet bins total around 50,000 bushel of wet storage. When we fill those, they run after hours, and you can feed the leg there into the conveyor, and then also straight from the main wet bin. Now we're going to talk about the most important part, and one of the things that makes us stand out amongst some farms is our drying system. We put this in 2019. My brother basically wired the entire project, and we're capable of 2,300 bushels an hour at 5 points, and 1,200 bushels an hour at 10 points. Sorry for the aeration noise. So you can see our leg downspout is feeding this dryer. The corn sifts through, comes to the bottom. There are fans on the back with burners, and you adjust your temperature and use your fans to dry the corn. When it comes down to this area, it's a cooling chamber, so when we're dumping, we're actually dumping cooled down corn, and it goes into an air system here. We can just follow this pipe, goes up the bin and to the top. So when you see these pipes up the side of the bin, they're actually to our air system. This one goes under the ground, comes back up, but you can see we're actually blowing corn to even our furthest bin. Now to do that, this distance and that height takes horsepower. We've got two 30 horsepower blowers, and we use air to blow the corn into the bins. We fight these with the pipes. It's a really high wear item. You see sometimes we tape them. Little pinholes that come in. The pipes are very expensive to replace. So we try to weld them, rotate them, anything that we can do to extend the life. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to haul dry corn from this bin that we run through the dryer. It's in this bin. We're going to pull it out right here into the auger, and we're going to load it into the truck. When we come back, I'll show you a little more about that. While I'm warming the trucks up, starting up the 04. C12 cat in that. 410 rear end, we like those. Anyway. Truck inspections have a gasket out. Glad we see this. Brennan found this, and we're going to fix this morning before we load. So we pulled the axle, taking the pieces of gasket off, scraping. We're going to have to add some AEW 90 to the rear end. Caught it in time, didn't hurt anything. New gaskets right here. Should be an easy fix. There's the axle right there. So we got the axle back in. We are pumping our rear end back full of AEW 90 gear oil. He's out there using some brake clean to clean a wheel, and then we will be loading this truck soon. We got the 04 loaded while I was fixing that axle. They're loading the other two trucks. So we are going to head to the Alexandria Poet Ethanol Plant. Perfect legal weight limit. Joking. So we're pulling into the Alexandria Poet Ethanol Plant, and right at the entrance is 75 acres that we actually farm. So as we enter here, we've got to untarp our load. We can see in the mirror. I'm actually gonna pull my little handy remote up, open, and you can see that our tarp opens itself on the way in. Very handy. So as we pull on the scales to get a weight, the trailer's untarping itself. That's kind of a new feature for us. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull on the scales. They're going to probe our load and check our moisture. We've dried the corn to around 15 to 16%, and should be no problem past grade, and we'll get to dump. Here's our probe station right here. We're going to slide up and swipe our card. And as we swipe our card, got off the scales, they probed our load. We're going to continue on around to the dump area. It's on the back side. Poet facility is a really nice place. Quick turnaround time, easy to dump. You can see here to the north side of the plant, by the rail, there's another field, and we actually rent that from Poet themselves. Get a chance to farm that. So we're the only guy here. I'll take my time to show you guys what this is all about. They have their dried distillers grains, DDGs, here on the left. They load those out on rail cars and send it out for animal food right there. We're going to pull up here and actually dump. So we pulled up over the pit, going here to our site box, get our crank. We're going to start opening our trailer. Let's see if I can do that and hold you guys at the same time. We're going to see how this works out. Not very well. Be careful not to drop my phone in the dump pit. It usually takes a couple minutes, and I'll get back with you. So the trailer that I'm dumping here is a 1983 Timpte. We put 2 speeds on because the doors open extremely hard. It's been a good trailer for us. We've had it since 2009. Just pretty nice shape for as old as it is. So you can see Noah in our other truck, he's pulling in. The ethanol plant is 3.5 miles from the house. We'll kind of watch him do this process. It makes it really nice for us. We move a lot of volume per day. Basically just rotate trucks and never shut the unload off. It's really handy. This corn was 22% coming out of the field. After we've dried it, it'll be 15 to 16%, which is what Poet, they prefer for their ethanol production. Anything above 15.5, they dock you some money for having too much moisture. So typically we try to hit that 15.5, the sweet spot. So I'll get this done, and I'll check with you guys here in a few. So as we leave Poet, we pull on the outbound scale to weigh as we're empty. There's some ethanol headed out. So pull up, scan our card, and it will spit out a ticket. So we can keep track of our loads, like so. reload. Big 3.5 mile journey to the ethanol plant and back. Grind them till you find them. Dryer's shut down at the moment. He's having to redo some things. Kept kicking out during the rain event. So we're going to pull up underneath the spout and we're going to start loading some grain. So our dry corn comes out here. We hit a switch to fire motor. And this, which we don't walk on when it's running, runs off the tractor. So we're going to come over here, start the tractor. Fire up the PTO. Load a semi with a 10-inch unload in about 12 to 15 minutes, and that's for 1,000 bushels. These hoppers have a divider in the center, a door in the front and the back. We use 40-foot trailers. Typically 36 to 43 are pretty common. See our electric roll tarp. So it has a motor there and it rolls the tarp. Before it had a hand crank at the back and you manually do it, which is not bad, but we're doing it a few thousand times a year adds up. So electric tarps have been a nice addition. You can also, there's an open or a closed button here on the keypad, as well as the remote. So we just kind of have to judge and not overload. You can definitely overfill these trailers. And it's just kind of a trial and error, but over the years you get used to it. For this trailer, I fill it twice in the front, twice in the back. Good range, I'll have a little over 1,000 bushels on. So we store around 450,000 bushels. And we produce around 140,000 bushels of beans and around 450 corn. So the difference we haul off. We haul some beans off from the field, and then we haul home and dry some corn, reload, and then haul it out during harvest, which is what we're doing today. Anything that won't fit in the bins at the end of harvest, we'll sell as overrun there the 1st of December. And we'll go into December with all our bins full. We normally start our hauling season post-harvest, December, January. We start to pour the bins and start the hauling process. That process lasts, we've had it done as early as March on years we sell early, and as late as August or even September with previous year crop, and we're hauling to market. We do that according to price, and if we have to store longer for price, then I don't do the show. So grain bins are one of our big hazards. We have to enter those at times when we don't want to. As long as we put good crop in, we don't normally have any issues in the bin. But if we do, we've got different methods we use to get in. One of the other hazards I'm about to show you is our PTO shafts on tractors. Things spinning on augers. These things are very hazardous to really watch walking around. We have right here lots of fatalities to those. All of this kind of stuff spinning. We don't want to be caught in those. Just a lot of hazards we got to watch out for. Growing up out here, we learned pretty quick not to be into those kind of things. So we're about to get this truck topped up. We're going to go to another trip to the ethanol plant. I'll try to find you guys some more interesting stuff to see. We'll be back in touch. To do this video, but you get the drift. It's pretty cool. And it's going to stop when it rolls around. Just like that. We're ready to go. We just pass each other all the time as we're hauling the Poet. Just a constant flow of grain. Kind of cool.